Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to issues 29 all the way up to 32 of Build the Iron Man Mark III. So welcome back everyone, thanks for joining me for some more Build the Iron Man. Now, it's been a couple of weeks since I did the last video, and I explained in that last video I was working on a top secret project. I'm gonna reveal now what the film was. Filmed 7 weeks on Ant-Man 3, so pretty epic. Can't say anything else apart from that. You know how Marvel are, top secret. I don't want to break any NDAs and get into trouble, but I can tell you that I will be in the film, and I'm really hoping that the cameo will be noticeable. So fingers crossed they don't cut too many of the scenes I'm in and you can actually see me. So it was epic, and I'm happy to talk about it when I'm allowed to. So what I've done, I've actually skipped from issues 14 all up to 29, and the reason being is because you don't need to see me build exactly the same. Well, I've already built the right arm completely, the hand, etc. And those other issues, 14 to 28, they actually are doing the left side. It's exactly the same. So it's a waste of time to build those again and film the process. You've already seen it. It's just mirrored image. I did do it for the Terminator, but for this one, I think it's just not necessary. So I've skipped right ahead. I will obviously build the arm because I have to, but I'll do that off camera. So what we're going to be working on today is actually working on the left side of the leg. So we're actually starting on the knee joint and also the hip, and we've got a little bit of thigh as well to do. So that's obviously something we haven't done yet. We haven't built any parts of the leg or on the joint, so I'm going to work on that. Really excited. It doesn't look like too much to do. If I manage to skip through these parts quite quickly, I will then obviously do a few more episodes. But for today, we're doing at least 4 or 6 issues, and then we'll go from there. I do have quite a lot of backlog, obviously, because the filming for Marvel, it's pushed things right back for me. But now I'm back, no interruptions, and we can catch up with the latest issues. So let's get started. Okay, so starting with the parts as always, and my bad, just quickly, this is actually 29 and 30, so it's up to 14 to 28 that I've skipped, and we're now working on 29 and 30. So for issues 29, obviously the left knee joint, this is the cover of that joint, so a nice metal part there. That's a gearing, plastic part, and then we've also got some LM screws, which are 1.7 times 4 millimeters, so you'll need those. For issue 30, we've got the left knee lower joint. There, another nice heavy metal part, 1 spring, then we've got another ring for the left knee mechanism there, and then we've got a little washer, and then some teeny weeny little adhesive tapes, and I think they're going to cause me a little bit of problem because to cut them off, peel them back looks very tricky. So it's recommended you have some tweezers and some sort of knife. I'm going to try with my fingers crossed I can do it, and obviously need some screwdrivers as well. So let's get started. Right, so issue 29, not a great deal to do. So we're going to spin round the joint cover, and what we're going to do, we're going to take the gearing, and we're going to place that over the pin there. So I'm just going to double check I'm got on the right one there. Yes, it's the outer part, and you'll see that there's some screw holes. These are going to align with the screw holes inside of there either side. So you also want to make sure that the teeth are facing up for that. So once you've done that, you're just going to secure your LM screws, so that will be in place, and that's literally it. That's just the 1.1 step. So nice and easy for that part, but I think it's the next part that's going to be tricky with issue 30 with that adhesive tape. So I'm just going to screw these in, and then we will move on. So nice and easy to start, but I'm sure it'll get a bit more complicated as we go along, as are all these builds. Okay, so just screwing that in now, and that's that part done. So for issue 30, we're going to take component 30B, so that's that part there, that plastic part, and what you're going to do, you're actually going to pop that over that section there we just worked on. So this part here, the plastic part, needs to be sticking outwards from there. Once you've done that, you're going to pop the spring over that. So I don't think there's any particular way of doing that. And then we just leave that there for the moment. So that's how that's looking for the time being. So now the tricky part, step 2, with the adhesive tape. So for this step, you want to take one of the adhesive tapes. So imagine there's 2, so you've got a spare. And I'm just going to put it in the tweezers so you can just see how bloody small this is. So yeah, that's how small it is. I've somehow got to peel off the double-sided adhesive and put it onto one part of this little washer. So bear with me, I may go off camera for this because I imagine it's going to be a pain to get it off. Okay, that's that on there. Let's pop this on onto the top. Sorry, I can't really show you this part because it's quite tricky. Just doing my best not to mess it up really. Okay, so a little bit of difficulty. I have managed to take off both sides of the adhesive tape and stick it on. So what we're going to do, we're going to take component 30A, and what we do, we're going to put that washer inside of there, and the tape needs to be facing up, by the way, guys and girls, because that will stop, that will keep the washer from allowing it to rub, you know, so it's going to stay, you know, everything's going to stay where we want it and nothing to rub with inside. So just going to use tweezers to pop that in there. And once that's in place, you're going to pop it over this part here of the joint cover. So I'm going to come from this angle so I don't lose that washer. Hopefully that will work, like so. So you can see there, that's just slotted through nicely. And then at this point, it doesn't actually attach, so it's not, there's nothing to secure it, so it's just going to stay like that for the moment. So we are finished on that issue as well. Okay, so issues 31 and 32. So the construction of the left knee continues. Obviously we've got another joint cover here, and then we've also got a left knee screw cap there and 2 washers. That's all we need for that issue there. On to 32, there's a few more parts, and the reason being is because this is going to allow, it's going to give us the complete sturdy internal gear that controls the movement of the leg and allows you to position that actual model. So we've got a knee joint. We've got, this is a left knee gearing. We've got a left knee rotating ring, another spring, another washer, and my favourite, little adhesive tape. We've also got some LM screws, which are 1.7 times 4mm, and you need some IM screws, which are, I believe, 2 times 5mm. So let's finish this, these issues off. So there's only one step for obviously the issue 31, and all we're going to do with those washers is we're going to mount them to their corresponding sections there. They will be fitted in the future issue to the rest of it. This kneecap, I believe, is going to be used in the next issue or the one after, so we don't need that. Just going to put that to one side. You'll see there's holes on these washers and they'll slot into those little pins on here. All we want to do is basically line them up for the next issue, so nice and simple. So step 1 for issue 32 is fitting another bit of adhesive tape onto that little washer. So I'm going to do it off camera because you already seen me do it once before, and it's going to slot into that section there. So once I've done that, we'll move on to stage 2. Okay, with great difficulty I managed to get the next adhesive tape on. So what you're going to do for this, you're going to put in obviously this part of the knee joint, and you're going to put it face down so the washer's facing inwards, and hopefully that will stay into place for what we want so it doesn't cause any rubbing. But yeah, that's very, very tricky to put on and remove the sections I needed, so hopefully I'm going to do that again for a while. So that's how it should be looking from there. Then you so once you've done that, you're going to take the component from the last issue, so issue 30, obviously the joint cover, and you'll see the other pin there is where we're going to put on this component, the gearing 32B, and you'll see the corresponding holes either side. So it can only go one way, and again it must be the teeth must be facing up. So make sure you've got them in the right positions, otherwise it's not going to go where you want it to. Once you've got them into place, you're going to secure them with some LM screws. So just grab those, do one at a time. So apart from the adhesive tape, the rest of it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, but it's just that tape, you know. You take the first part off, that's not a problem, but it's the second part that's the real issue. And I'm sure some of you may have struggled a little bit like I did, because it's super fiddly. Just a pain in the arse, to be honest. So it's nice to do something a bit easier afterwards, because it can be very time consuming. When you're filming videos, that's not ideal at all. Okay, so secure those into place. Once we've done that, we're going to get the rotating ring. So that's the other part with the black part next to me with the teeth. I think that's actually metal because it's a bit heavier. Well, actually it's plastic, but it does feel a lot heavier and makes a bit more of a noise when you put it down. So we're going to pop that over. Let's spin it around for you so you can see. So we're going to pop that over. So this part here is facing down. So that just slides over. And then you grab the other spring and put that over there. So that will go on top. Okay, so you're going to be taking the joint cover with those washers there. And we're going to pop it over what we've just worked on. So this bit's going to be quite fiddly, as you can see, because obviously these parts here, the springs are trying to push off, so I've got to make sure everything aligns up and doesn't come out of place whilst I'm trying to push it all down. But once I get that clicking connection, I'll be able to secure it with the screws and it'll sit into place where I want it. So bear with me. Hopefully I've got this all right. Okay, so that's how it should be looking at the end of those two stages. They can move, they're a bit stiff, but that's how they should be apparently. So don't worry too much about that. But yeah, so that's that issue complete. And just to finish off, we're just going to put the little cap on the knee joint just over that part there. So it just slots in there. And that's it. So that's the issue complete. Okay, so we've got just enough time and battery on my camera to do 2 more episodes. So we've got issue 33 and issue 34. Issue 33, we're actually working on the assembly of the left thigh. So obviously, sorry, that's this part here. And then also we're going to be working on the hip as well. So we've got the components here. So let's start with obviously the thigh. So we've got the outer thigh part here. And then we've got the outer thigh armour plate. Just so you know, these are plastic. And then you've also got an outer knee pad. So for the hip, we've got 2 hip joint covers, again plastic. We've got a bearing ring, we've got a socket, a bearing joint, and we've also got a joint support bracket there. So every part here is plastic. Don't really know why. I thought it'd be metal, but maybe it's the reason the rest of the parts are going to get heavy as we go, so it can't be too heavy. In terms of screws, so you've got one little bag of screws, which are IP and LP screws. So the LP are 2 times 5mm, and you also got the IP at 1.7 times 4mm. All you need is a screwdriver, and that's it. So sorry, I forgot to mention on issue 34, you've actually got some AP screws, which are 2 times 4mm. So okay, so step 1, support and bearing ring. So you will see on one of these hip parts, there's a section in the middle there. They both have it, and that's what's going to join it, but there's also this part here, and that's where component 33B, the joint support, actually goes in. It can only go in one way, and you'll see which way, because obviously there is a hole for it to be screwed onto. So I'm just going to line that up. So that's how so it should be sitting. Let's just show you if it doesn't fall off. So it sits facing that way. And to secure it into place, you need one of your LP screws. So let's just secure that into place. Like so. And this obviously, like I mentioned, it joins the two covers of the hip joint together. So quite an important part. That's how it's looking there. So we're going to take the other hip joint cover, and what you're going to do with 33D, so that's the bearing, that's actually going to sit within that part there. So just slot that in, I believe. Just make sure I've got it the right way. Just going to double check. So yeah, it's that way because it doesn't seem to fit the other way. So how it's showing me is the ridge part is facing me. So it's quite tight. Just snap the bearing ring into the groove of the cover. So I haven't really heard a snap, it's just pushed through. So for stage 2, the joint bearing. So you're going to take component 33E and also component 33F. And you're going to insert that into the middle of that part there. Once you've done that, you need to take one of your IP screws, and that's going to secure those two together. So nice and easy. Just get that screw. And then we'll secure them. That's how it's looking at that point. Now that all those three elements have done, that's the first parts of the hip joint assembly ready for future issues. So now we can move on to issue 34. Okay, issue 34, nice and short and sweet, as there's only one stage for it. So you can take the thigh armour there, and what we're going to do is showing that some screws actually are screwed into them. So I'm just double checking where. So with component 34B, you'll see there are 3 screw holes, and they're actually this is going to slide under this part of the leg, so you can see how they'll slide on. Then once that's done, you'll be able to secure 3 screws within that area. So it's going to take 3 of the AP screws and slot those 2 together, so they're nice and secure. And then once that's done, we've just got to add on 1 section, which will be the knee pad, again with screws, and that's literally it. So not a great deal to do today, guys, on this issue, but that's good. We can skip forward in the next videos and get a leg coming together, because at the moment we've got 1 arm, 1 shoe, 1 hand, 1 head, and 1 other arm and hand pending that I'm going to do off camera, like I said. So let me just secure these in and I'll skip to the next part. Okay, so the final part here, you can see obviously the knee pad. There are two screw points there, and they're just literally going to go over the screw holes at the end there. You slot that on, nice and simple, and secure it with 2 more AP screws. So I'm just going to do that now, and then that is that issue complete. Once you've screwed it on, that's how it should be looking. So that's that issue complete, and all issues complete for today. Right, guys and girls, that's that video complete for today. Managed to do quite a few, managed to go from 29 all the way to 34. So we now have a completed knee joint. We've started on the hips, and we've also done the first part of the armour for the leg. So in the next issues, we're actually going to be using the left foot. So that's going to be actually started to add it on to the leg. I've got parts, you can see it's a bit dusty, hasn't been used for a while. I've got parts that are going to connect to that, so obviously from the ankle and moving upwards. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to need that for the next issue. I'm going to be working on issues 35 to 38. I do have issues all the way up to 42, and we're just continuing on with that leg. Pretty sure that's all they're going to be sending for now. Maybe some odd parts for other areas there, but I'm really excited because I've got another box coming any day now, which should take me up to, I think, issue 46 or so. So almost halfway, because there's 100 issues in this one. So not as many as the Terminator, but still quite a lot. Like I said, off camera, I'm going to build the other arm and hand. Not going to film that process again, but definitely filming all of this aspect, because the parts I've seen for the legs, like the internal structure where you can see the details, is really, really impressive. Like circuitry board, another nice little elements and details. So really, really good stuff, really good quality. So I'm really happy with that, and I can't wait to get started. So thanks for staying patient with me, guys and girls. Obviously it was for a good reason, you know. I'm I'm a part of the MCU now, hopefully fingers crossed for many more films to come. And yeah, just going to keep building this and crack on. So I've got pretty much a good schedule now, so hopefully fingers crossed I can release it every week. I'll be up to date with everyone else, and then we can continue to see the build come along. So I hope you liked today's video. If you did, as always, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and share it to any groups that you may think that people may be interested. So take care guys, and I'll see you soon.